It's Wednesday the 1st of June 2016. My name is Simon Kerins and I'm delighted to welcome you, and in some cases welcome you back, to SportsCall on the internet. Many of you will hopefully recall that between August 2009 and September 2010, SportsCall aired weekly on Ribble Valley Media. It built up a popularity that was genuinely global, as fans from all over the world got in touch with their sporting news, views, likes and dislikes. We had some great guests, most notably snooker legend Steve Davis, and from the world of football, Sam Allardyce, David Dunn and Rob Hayes. We also, of course, had our famous, ever-popular fans forums, when supporters of Burnley, Blackburn Rovers and Accrington Stanley came together to chew the fat and compare their highs and lows of the 2009-10 season. SportsCall was also underpinned by some great music, and during the programme's 13-month run, I think it's fair to say that certain songs, rather like the show itself, built up a genuine cult following. SportsCall did make a brief return to the internet 4 years ago, in that famous summer, that Olympic summer of 2012, and since then, on occasion, I have broadcast certain things, mainly tributes to stars like Sir Anthony Peter McCoy, the great AP, and I've also made a few other recordings, but SportsCall is hopefully now back for good, bigger and better than ever before. The aim, of course, is still the same, namely to cater for the needs of the online sports enthusiast, particularly those in the Ribble Valley and East Lancashire. That is where I am, that is where you are, so this is a wonderful opportunity for you to get in touch, not just with your sports news and views, your likes and dislikes, but also with anything that you want to share with your fellow listeners. I'll be telling you later on how you can do that. For now, I think it's fair to say that SportsCall is the comeback king, rather like Claudio Ranieri, and what a return he has made in the 2015-16 football season, as his Leicester City, for the first time ever, won the top flight title, winning the Premier League Championship comfortably ultimately, despite the fact that everybody was waiting for the wheels to come off the wagon of the 5,000 to 1 shots. 5,000 to 1 at the start of the season, many people's relegation tip, including, I admit, mine, but how they confounded the experts, and they will play Champions League football next season. Burnley will play in the Premier League, having won the Championship at the first time of asking, a swift return to the Premier League for Sean Dyche's men, and they will be hopeful that they can survive next season and push on to bigger and better things in the years ahead. Blackburn Rovers fans, however, are facing a very, very different kind of summer. At the time of broadcasting, Paul Lambert has still not been replaced. Hopes, of course, were very high when he took the Ewood Park hot seat, but he announced a few weeks before the end of the season that he was leaving the club. Speculation as to who might replace him. Warren Joyce has been mentioned, so too Neil Warnock and Billy Davis. How about Ryan Giggs as an outside bet? That could have legs. I think Giggs needs to move away from Manchester United, at least in the short term, to enhance his prospects of one day returning to the top job at Old Trafford. Accrington Stanley fans will still be licking their wounds following their failure to secure promotion to League One. At the start of the season, a promotion campaign would have been more than acceptable to the faithful at the Wham Stadium, but in the event they will be hugely disappointed at their failure to make it into the third tier. They had their fate in their own hands when they took on Stevenage in the final game of the season, but unfortunately they could not get that vital win, and Bristol Rovers' last gasp success in their game condemned Stanley to the playoffs. And of course, if Stanley fans are listening, you don't need me to go over what did happen, but I will do. Unfortunately, you succumbed over the two legs to AFC Wimbledon, who went on to take their place in League One by winning the playoff final on Monday. Going forward, of course, to the 2016-17, there will be plenty of excitement, plenty of things to look forward to, not least the battle of the new Manchester managers, Mourinho taking on Guardiola. However, before all that, there is the small matter of the Euro 16 tournament taking place in France. Scottish fans may want to cover their ears for the next few moments because while they missed out on qualification for the tournament, England, Wales, Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic all secured their places there. England coach Roy Hodgson named his squad yesterday and unexpectedly, really, it has courted some controversy. Many people thinking that the selection of Daniel Sturridge, Jack Wilshere and Jordan Henderson is fraught with risk. Other people, not least Alan Shearer, believing that Hodgson was wrong to drop Leicester midfielder Danny Drinkwater from his squad. As a lifelong West Ham fan and as someone who can both objectively and subjectively see the qualities in Mark Noble, I share the frustration of Drinkwater and any Leicester City fans. Of course, not just Leicester City fans fighting the cause of Drinkwater. Many people feel he would have been a valuable addition to the squad. How will England do? How will the other home nations do? Well, only time will tell. But D-Day is getting ever nearer. And England, of course, will kick off their campaign against Russia on the 11th of June. They will then take on Wales and Slovakia. Not an easy group, but they certainly ought to be progressing to the knockout stages. Moving on from football to cricket, England leading Sri Lanka 2-0 ahead of the third and final test at Lords. England making great progress. They're looking strong in all departments, especially the bowling department. One or two uncertainties about some of their batting crew going forward, but there is no doubt whatsoever that this England team, particularly on home soil, can give anybody a good game. Of course, cricket and this part of the world very closely linked. The Ribblesdale League, extremely famous, as is, of course, the Lancashire League. Our focus on SportsCall has always been on the teams in the Ribblesdale League, and Clitheroe and Whalley have both made very promising starts to the new season. Clitheroe leading the table, Whalley in third place, settle in between them. If you are involved in local cricket, then I want to hear from you, your news, your views, your events, your fundraisers, and anything else that you would like to share with your fellow listeners here on SportsCall. And you can do that quite simply. If you know my mobile phone number, and many sports enthusiasts in the area do, you can send me a text or even ring me. You can also get in touch via Facebook at Simon Kerins SportsCall, and as regards Twitter, you can tweet me at SK SportsCall. That's at SK SportsCall. It really couldn't be easier, and from broadcast to broadcast, and hopefully these will be going out weekly, or certainly fortnightly. If you get in touch with me, I will make sure that I share your news and views with your fellow listeners. Earlier today, this Wednesday, the 1st of June 2016, Britain's Andy Murray reached the final of the French Open, semi-final, I should say, of the French Open tennis. Murray has never reached the final before at Stade Roland Garros, but hopes are high that this might be the year when he makes it to the final. He's had, though, I think it's fair to say, a rather unconvincing passage to the last four, having to come from behind in the majority of his games to date. He found himself a set down earlier today against local favourite Richard Gasquet, but he did prevail in 4 sets, and on Friday he will take on the defending champion, Stan Wawrinka of Switzerland. Formula One fans have plenty to think about, plenty to talk about so far this season. Of course, there is a long, long way to go in the 2016 championship. Defending champion Lewis Hamilton back on track if you pardon the pun, following that epic win in Monaco on Sunday. It's fair to say he's not had the best of luck thus far this campaign, but his win on Sunday could be significant because it made a sizable dent in his teammate Nico Rosberg's championship lead. It was 43 points going into the race. It is now down to 26. Momentum, you would think, back with Hamilton. Golf fans will have been celebrating Danny Willett's win in the US Masters in Augusta in the spring. Willett's tipped by many for some time as a future major winner, delivered, realising his potential, and a recent third place in the PGA Wentworth Championship will not have done him any harm at all as he prepares for the Open and the US Open over the course of the coming weeks. Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth still very much ruling the roost at the top of the tree, along with the Australian golfer Jason Day. And whatever you think of him, I personally believe it is extremely sad to see Tiger Woods struggling so badly, perhaps, some would say almost certainly, in the last throes of his career. The romantic in me would love him to come back and, well, have one great last hurrah, perhaps at a major, perhaps in another high-profile tournament, hopefully not in the Ryder Cup, because that would mean it was at our expense. But I think right now the likelihood of Tiger Woods playing in another Ryder Cup is extremely remote. And again, I'm mindful that there are many golf enthusiasts and many great golf clubs here in the Ribble Valley and indeed across East Lancashire. So please, when you're staging tournaments, when you're promoting fundraising events, etc., get in touch with me and I'll only be too happy to spread the word about your activities. If you're a horse racing fan like myself, it's certainly a busy and exciting time, with 3 days away from the Epsom Derby, 2 days away from the Oaks. Promises to be a great couple of days racing. Galileo Gold, of course, won the 2,000 guineas at the start of the month, Minding prevailing in the fillies equivalent, the 1,000 guineas, and of course just a few weeks down the line, attention will turn from Epsom to Royal Ascot. I remember incidentally talking 4 years ago, and perhaps a little further back as well, about the plans to build a racecourse between Reed and Symonston here in the Ribble Valley. It was the brainchild of the Zetland Group, Lord Zetland, a very eminent figure in the world of horse racing. Nothing has really happened over the course of the past 4 years. Occasionally I hear whispers here and there, but it seems that there is a long, long way to go before the Ribble Valley would have its own racecourse. If you have a view on that, obviously the increased building of houses in this part of the world is very controversial for some people. How would you feel about a new racecourse pitching up in the vicinity? Yay or nay, let me know, and I will recap on the ways in which you can let me know very, very shortly. I mentioned that 4 years ago SportsCall made a fleeting reappearance to cover the London Olympics. It's incredible to think that 4 years have passed and that the Rio event is looming ever larger on the horizon. Rest assured, we will be having a comprehensive preview as well as ultimate coverage of the Rio Games later on this year. But for now, we're coming to the end of this short broadcast. It was something completely unannounced. Hopefully it's come as a nice surprise to you, and an opportunity for you to either reacquaint yourself or indeed acquaint yourself with what life is like on SportsCall. SportsCall on the internet. You will be able to ultimately listen to this directly on YouTube or via Facebook and Twitter. If you would like to get in touch, and I sincerely hope you will do, then all you need to do is tweet me at SKSportsCall. You can also get in touch via my Facebook page, either my personal Facebook page, if you're a Facebook friend, or via Simon Kerins SportsCall Plenty to look forward to over the course of the summer and beyond here on SportsCall. And incidentally, many of you have said over the course of the last 4 years how nice it would be for SportsCall to return to the internet. As I say, this was unannounced, something of a surprise, hopefully a pleasant one, but it has meant a great deal to me that the programme that ran between 2009 and 2010 continues to be held in such high regard. Just some bits and pieces to share with you before we conclude. A few people have been talking to me about their thoughts on local football matters. Alex, who's a Burnley fan, says, I'm delighted that Sean Dyche is staying at the club. 2 promotions in 3 seasons, a real chance to push on. And I mentioned Ryan Giggs and my belief that he would be a good appointment at Blackburn Rovers or indeed Bolton Wanderers. Dave tells me that that has been talked about, certainly in the bars of Blackburn. Would be a popular appointment, but Warren Joyce seems to be the favourite at the moment. He has managed previously. He was an experienced player with Barnsley and Hull. For the last few years he's been involved in the setup at Manchester United, and that in itself could open the way to a link-up between those 2 clubs. Dean and Neil, one of them used to be a regular contributor, that's Dean, back in the SportsCall days. He says, I really do fear for Accrington Stanley now. We had such a wonderful opportunity. How will we cope next season? Well, I see, at least as far as the bookmakers are concerned, that Stanley are well down the pecking order for promotion next season. Well, I'll tell you something, they were even further down the pecking order for promotion last season, and they almost delivered. So hopefully Stanley fans, take heart. You've plenty to build on, plenty to look forward to in the forthcoming season. One other piece of news, an example of the local element and how it's nice to share events and information locally. Moorland School are having an open day on Saturday the 2nd of July. This will include an academy open day for budding football stars, perhaps tomorrow's stars who we'll be talking about in years to come, courtesy of their exploits for Burnley, Blackburn and Accrington Stanley. For more information you can ring 01200 423 833. That's 01200 423 833, or email tduckworth@moorlandschool.co.uk. tduckworth@moorlandschool.co.uk. Of course, I'm well and truly aware we're getting into the summer fete period, and if you would like to share a sporting angle with your activities, then please do. Promote any kind of sports day, any kind of fundraising event, charitable initiative, etc., etc. of Ribble Valley and East Lancashire, synonymous with wonderful charitable endeavours and volunteering. Plenty of information, I'm sure, that I can share. I just need to know about it, so you know what to do as regards getting in touch with me. So we've had almost 20 minutes of this broadcast. Back in the day, it was 2 hours. So, like it or not, you've got off lightly this evening. I hope this finds you well. It's nice to have had the opportunity to speak with you again. Stand by for another sports call very soon, and spread the word. Tell people. Let them know Sports Call is back, and hopefully back for good. I'll speak to you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.